Welcome to the Tangles and Tunes channel, and in today's video we're going to take a look at a tangle pattern by Lynn Mead, a very well-known and well-loved CZT who always has something creative in store for us. This will be a short video. I'm just doing this as opportunity has arisen. Many of you know I've started a new job, and the demands of that job have been quite great, so my time for drawing at the moment has been limited, but I wanted to do this quick video at least and introduce you to this new tangle by Lynn. So let's get started right on that. So I'm going to use just a small bijou tile, and I am using a Renaissance or the tan tile because I think it might be fun to add some white highlights along with our shading on this one. But let's get started. So we'll just go right to our pen, and right in the center of this tile we're going to draw a small orb or circle, and then we're going to draw a larger orb or circle that just sort of mirrors or parallels that. Once we have that, we're going to draw some little lines. We're going to turn this into what looks like a little candy mint or something. We're going to draw some lines that arc and curve in this direction. So I'm going to draw one that goes up like that. We're looking for about 5 of these. So there's 3, 4, and 5. So we're roughly dividing that up. I say it looks kind of like a mint, but we'll add some additional line weight and so forth to that. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction of these curves. So these are sort of curving to the left, if you want to think of it that way. So now we're going to curve and create some lines that go out a little bit away from the circle like this in the opposite direction. Now you can start them in any place, but you might find it helpful to start them roughly where these lines meet so that we can make sure we get the same amount of lines going in that opposite direction. So I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I got a little wonky there as I was drawing at a strange angle, but you can see what I've done. And now we're going to close these lines up by creating the top of what will become the petal to our flower here. And you might want to start a little to the right side. So in other words, not centered. If we do it a little to the right, it gives that impression that these are leaning or twisting in this direction and curving behind the other. Now you can start and come up like this, or you can start at the top, etc. But just see how I'm doing this. So I'm going to draw this line across and just bring that down. And you can rotate this a little bit if necessary, if that's helpful for you. So I'm starting this further over toward the right. And in this case, you can see my line didn't hit, so I want to stop there and be careful to not go too far. We want to create that overlap. So now I'm just going to connect that line like this. You can finish that line, of course, once you know where everything's going to be. So we get sort of a flower looking shape here. But that's the basic pattern. So now that we've got that, we can begin to embellish it a little bit. So we maybe could create some little items like this that give the impression that that little leaf is folded over a bit on itself. You could do that to all of them or some of them. It's not a requirement in any sense, but you can embellish this however you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to all of my 5 petals. And they can be varying sizes and widths there as far as that goes. And I'm also going to add some little wrinkle lines, I call them, or little fold lines at the base where these right leaning curves or those larger petals where they come out. I want to add little curves or fold indicators there on these pieces, just like that. It just helps make a few additional details. And now what I would suggest, and Lynn does this in her own drawings, is that we could add some weighting to various parts of this. And we can also add little fold lines in here that would be shorter, and they're going to go, of course, in that opposite direction of our outer petal, but the same direction as these inner swirl lines, and it just helps to create a sense of movement with this little pattern. We go like that. So now we've got the basic thing, but now we can add some weighting, add a little extra blackness to some of these details here where they curve and connect. It'll just add some fun details to the pattern itself. A little more variety to those line weights is always kind of a nice way to do that. Just very simple, and there's no really right or wrong way to do this. It's just by eye, by feel. Use your intuition of where you think those little darker areas or heavier lines should be. And I'm going to create some of it up in here as well along my petal lines. So I'm going to make these a little bit heavier. Of course, you could use a larger pen to accomplish the same thing, but doing it this way just gives me a little bit of fine control on where I place these extra weights, but that's certainly not necessary. You might find that tedious to do when you're coming back onto a line like this, but that's up to you. You could certainly use that heavier pen if that was more convenient or more desirable for you. In fact, I'll show you how that might look. Let me grab one of my larger pens here, a larger nibbed pen. So I'll try an 08 here. So I was using an 01, which is very fine. But now here I can just add some weight, little details that I think might be helpful. Just making these lines bolder, I guess, is a simple way to think of it. I don't want to overcomplicate it by talking about adding weight and making it seem like some esoteric art practice. It's just a way of making lines stand out more. And a lot of people just like to draw with a bolder pen to begin with, and that's fine as well. But sometimes when you're not sure where the shape's going to go and how it's going to turn out, it's nice to use a fine line so that you can correct little details that maybe you didn't want or didn't anticipate, and you can take a pen like this and just go over them and smooth everything out. It just starts turning it into a little cleaner pattern overall that way. This kind of, to me, it has a feel of the old clip art that used to be, had bold lines all around it. I guess there's some clip art still today that's like that, but it's less common in the digital age because everything is very refined and precise. But the old clip art catalogs, boy, I used to spend hours looking through those and having fun with seeing how those pieces might come together in a form that would be useful to me. So now I've got that. We've got some weight added to it, given it some additional details, and we can set aside our pen for a moment and we can go right now to our graphite. So depending on your own preferences, actually, you know what? I am going to add a little more weight here to these lines just to bring them out a little bit more as well, to be more consistent with the other lines that I've drawn in this pattern. I want it to be visible very readily. It won't get lost as easily too, maybe, when we add some shading. All right, there we go. That's a little better. Now the shading that I'm going to add is going to be around the center, just to be able to create a little sense of depth on the inside here. That shadow that we're going to use when we blend it will create a sense that that is a deeper spot there. And I'm going to do the same around this edge of our inner part of this flower pattern. So I'm just adding some graphite here. And as always with Zentangle, we'll be using our paper stump or tortillons to blend this and smooth this into a nice subtle sense of shade or value. And I think I'm also going to add some around in these areas here. Sort of like there's maybe a little bit of a overlap shadow going on here. And perhaps as it kind of peeks out underneath here, maybe there'd be some shadow along there. This is just to add some tonal variety, as I often talk about. It just makes our drawing more interesting to look at. And once we blend this, this will take on a little completely different light, so to speak. I'm just laying down graphite where I want to smooth it. just a neat pattern. I came across it here recently, browsing the internet, and said, oh, I got to show folks this fun little tangle pattern by Lynn. She always has been one that I've watched. Even when I first got into Zentangle many years ago, I was very fond of Lynn Mead's work and her incredible detail and creativity, but she keeps everything very approachable, which I appreciate as well. All right, so now we're going to go with our tortillon or paper stump. I'm just going to blend some of these shadows here. Just create a little bit of form and shape to this, perhaps, and some highs and lows as far as the particular shadows that we're creating. Very simple little drawing, but you can incorporate this in so many fun ways into other compositions that you might be working with. I know a lot of viewers for my channel really seem to like the floral patterns, and I certainly understand why. They can be really fun to work with. So this is just another neat one that Lynn's provided us here to work with. And now before we do anything else, I want to show you another option that Lynn shows in hers where we can add little leaves to this pattern at the intersections of our outer petals. So there's a couple ways you could do it, I guess, but the easiest way for me would be to simply draw a line that will be the center of this little leaf, and then create our shape, and then we're going to create some little leaf indicators here, or line form indicators to that. And I'm going to put one at each intersection, and I'm using my 01 pen again, that smaller pen, just to give me a little bit more fine detail as I lay this out. And you can make them as wide or as narrow as you'd like. There's no right or wrong. This is just a way to embellish this pattern, to add some additional interest to it. And once we've got all those in place, we can do the same thing we did before. Or if you were one who likes to draw with the larger pen to begin with, you can skip this. But I'm just going to add some weight now to these lines and make them a little easier to see and more interesting to view, hopefully. You could add little roundings to your shape if you wanted to make them look like a little bit different kind of leaf. You could certainly do that. Just to show you there a variety. This one's a little more rounded and this one's a little more straight. If you wanted to try different variations, it's just very easy with that wider, heavier pen to make subtle little changes to your design. Very easy. And it's fun sometimes just to try things on the fly like that and say, whoa, what if I changed this? What if I made that heavier and this rounder and that bolder? Just gives you opportunity to experiment with the tangle pattern that perhaps has become so familiar that it loses interest sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and round this one out just so my leaves are consistent. Very easily done. All right. And now as far as shading here, we can just add a little bit of maybe overlap shadow where the flower is in front, and as this leaf goes behind, maybe that's giving us a little sense of depth there that we can accentuate with our shading. And you could even add, show you here, you could add some shadow to the center of these leaves to help that seem to recede away a little bit in the shape of the leaf. Maybe that's where you're going to find some visual interest there. Just like that. Very simple. So we actually have what could be considered a finished tangle there, finished pattern, but I'm going to add some white chalk highlights here, just in a way that I hope will be kind of fun. So we're going to do this in the center. Might seem counterintuitive if that center is further away from us or recessing down into the flower, but I wanted to just bring that out. I'm going to do it here also where my leaves fold over. I think that will look kind of neat, like maybe the back of those leaves is a lighter, brighter color, as some flowers have that. So I'm just coloring that in with my chalk, leaving a nice deep white there, or bright white, I guess maybe would be a better way to say it. You could also use a gel pen. All right, and then I'm going to add a little bit to my outside of these leaves here. I don't want to overtake the leaf and make it look like a white leaf, but just as though it's maybe glistening a little bit. Again, give some nice contrast with the rest of our drawing here. Just putting some little dots there on the outside where to go against or to complement those inner darker lines that we use with our shadows and shading. Like that. And I think I'm also going to add just a tiny little lighter, not pressing as hard, a little lighter bit of a highlight poking through maybe on what I imagine is the higher part of this inner piece. And you could even add a little bit along in here if you so chose, just to help ever so slightly to accentuate that part of the flower and just make it look different than the surrounding part of it. Tone and variance in tone is really what helps give shape and form to things, and so sometimes it's fun to experiment with that and just see how we can come up with it. And so there we go. That really is the finished pattern with a few embellishments. And you can, of course, experiment and have lots of fun with that. Lynn also shows examples where she's added orbs around the outside near these leaves. And she's created clusters of this flower together that can really become a focal point in a composition. And so there's just a lot of ways you could do it. You could add stems if you wanted to and add additional different Zentangle patterns to this that are floral oriented, and it might really create a fun bouquet type approach. So thank you so much for joining with me. I look forward to seeing everyone again soon as time and opportunity allows back here in the Tangles and Tunes channel. Until then, I hope everyone is well and take care. Bye-bye now.